Almaty, or to call it by the rough English translation, the place of apples. So called because 20 million years ago or so, this is where apple trees originated. How about that? Not even 15 seconds in, we've already learnt something. And while we're on the subject of etymology, the naming of places and things, we may as well delve into the meaning of Kazakhstan itself. So the Stan part of the name, as with every city or country that has Stan at the end of the name, comes from an ancient Persian term meaning land of. The Kazakh part means wanderers or adventurers, and so Kazakhstan literally translates to land of the wanderers. The Kazakhs were probably known as such, as adventurers or wanderers, because about 5,000 years ago they were the first people on earth to ever domesticate horses. At first they discovered them and used them for meat and stuff, but quite quickly noticed they were brilliant for transport, and so they were the first people who could truly wander, adventure, explore to their heart's content. Behind me we have a couple of kids on horses around another independence monument celebrating the 1991 independence of Kazakhstan, and I bet you can't guess how tall it is, can you? 91 feet, of course it is. This is part of the Republic Square in Almaty, and it stands in front of the former residence of the president. I say former because although Almaty is by far the biggest city in Kazakhstan, it's no longer the capital city. It's not very strategically placed for a capital in a country of its size. As we know from the other day, this is one of the biggest countries in the world. So because it's so far south, it's not very ideal for spreading the wealth to the rest of the country, and that's one of the reasons the government gave for moving it to Astana, now known as Nur Sultan, in 1997. Other reasons include it's a bit too close to China for their liking, it's very susceptible to earthquakes in this region because it's near loads of mountains, and it's way more geographically central to the rest of the country, and so it breathes a lot more life into the northern economies. Now then, now en route to something called Koktobya. It's a little park at the top of the city. I believe it's got some animals and stuff, so give that a look. Got absolutely no idea why, but they've got a little bench monument to the Beatles. Why on earth? Easy mates. You alright? Now then. Also got some of these things. You've got some stuck to your gob. Oh. Look at his little chops. Right, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Kazakhstan has got a zoo with just pigeons in. They are pigeons, aren't they? You're not a pigeon, you look pretty spicy. Anyway, I wouldn't call it so much a zoo as just a few animals to look at. It's free to enter. Up here it's just a big park. It's a bit of a fairground kind of place. It's quite a nice spot actually. It's all starting to make sense. Not only have they got the Hyper Blaster and the Gravitron and some donkeys over there and a beach inside a shopping centre, they've also taxed Cleethorpes road train. You know how we always have places twinned with somewhere abroad? I think Cleethorpes is Königswinter, Grimsby is Bremerhaven. Maybe we should just scrap that and just have Grimsby and Cleethorpes twinned with the entirety of the country of Kazakhstan. I mean, they evidently want to Beals enough, we might as well. I'm starting to see the connection now, the link between Sacha Baron Cohen's Borat and Grimsby films. I've not seen either of them, but it's starting to make a bit of sense now. I can see the similarities and get it. Anyway, here's Almaty from the top. Now let's go down and see some of the rest of it. Well, I'm not too sure why, but they've got their own Eiffel Tower. This bit's dead nice. Almaty kind of instantly just feels like more of a, I don't know what the word is, like a real city, like lived in and that kind of thing, more so than Astana, Nur Sultan. This weather's turned out gorgeous. What a pleasant place to be. Again, I don't want to seem like I'm talking badly about Nur Sultan, because as you know, I found it really impressive, but it's a bit different, it's a different vibe. How can I put it? You know, like when you buy a brand new pair of dead swanky shoes, they look mint, everyone else really likes them, but you've not worn them in yet, they're not fully comfortable yet. Well, that's kind of like what Nur Sultan is. It seems like it's built ready to be a really big, populous capital city, but it's not quite that yet, it's just ready for it. Whereas Almaty feels a bit more like a worn-in pair of trainers. That's not my best ever analogy, but hopefully you get the point. Feels more like a proper place to live, this. Just look at this. Isn't this just stunning? This is Zenkov Cathedral. It's made entirely from wood and is claimed to be, I believe, the second tallest wooden building in the world, and matches my app. Just look at the roofs. It's remarkable. That has immediately just become one of my favourite buildings on the whole planet. That is incredible. It's also worth mentioning that although it's made completely from wood, they didn't use a single nail in the whole construction. I don't know how, but they did it. What a building. Disaster. The animals from the zoo have escaped. The cathedral is located in here. This is the park of the 28 Panfilov Guardsmen, so called in memory of the 28 soldiers who in 1941 in the Second World War held off German forces that far outnumbered them for long enough, I think it was a month or so, that loads of other people could turn up and batter the Nazis, so they're largely credited with the defence of Moscow. There's a whole avenue of these concrete blocks. They all serve as individual memorials of the 28 Panfilov Guardsmen. The reason the park is here is because of the 28, most of those guys were from Almaty. Obviously they fought for the Soviet Union, but they were from here, and so this park was named after them. They were all really inexperienced guys. I think it might have been their first time out, just put on the front line, and obviously did a cracking job. They were also all awarded posthumously with Hero of the Soviet Union award, medal thing. It was, however, and this is quite controversial, but I want to bring it up for the sake of historical accuracy, later revealed by a secret Soviet investigation that was then made classified, that the tale of the 28 was actually entirely fabricated. I think most of them just died pretty quickly. There was no noble defence of Moscow, and one of them was in fact arrested later for treason because he, quote, voluntarily surrendered to the Germans and later worked for the German police force. So unfortunately it's all quite made up, but despite that they kept their posthumous honours. They're still held as national heroes, and I suppose this park is here to remember all of World War II Soviet fallen heroes, not just them, and also I don't think many local people actually know that it's made up. Anyway, it's still a lovely space, and I'm a firm believer in remembering those that have served for your country, and that park serves exactly that purpose. I'm in Almaty Central Park and everyone's really dressed up and there's a massive racket coming from over there. I don't really know why. I'm gonna go and investigate. Oh, the scenes, absolute scenes. So either everyone's just graduated from school, like completely finished it forever, or in Almaty, maybe they just go nuts every single day when they get to go home. Either way, absolute scenes in Almaty Central Park. Madness, madness. And we're going to finish the day here. This is the Central Mosque of Almaty, and once again, it's just magnificent, isn't it? This is the first call to prayer I've heard the entire time I've been in Kazakhstan. Alright, so I've made it to the train station. That pretty much sums up my day in Almaty. I'm now going to get an overnight train to a place called Shymkent. So to sum up, Almaty's been mint. There's loads to do. I did miss some stuff out, but I tried to have a bit of a chilled one today, although I've still walked 12 miles, which brings my 3-day total to 40 miles, so my feet are about to drop off. But yeah, it's a nice place, it's civilized, it was just good, wasn't it? It was a good day, that. Anyway, yeah, I'm now heading to Shymkent, hopefully another very different part of Kazakhstan, see what that bit's like. Remember, if you like apples or horses, then Kazakhstan should be your best mate. You've got the Kazakhs to thank for both of those things. Anyway, I'm off. Cheers boys, see you in a bit.